epitaphio is the grave cloth of the Lord, the embroidered and bedecked shroud, the piece of cloth, usually red velvet, with the image of the Lord going to his burial, which we place inside of the wooden structure, and which afterwards goes and remains on the holy table until the Feast of Ascension. This is the epitaphio. This is the cloth that goes upon the corpse, which is what epitaphios means, the cloth that goes on the dead. And ultimately, if we wish, we may see that this is, in its usage, derives from the fact that the Church in ancient days possessed the shroud of the Lord, which was then taken by the Crusaders in 1204 when they came and sacked the holy city of Constantinople, and ended up, it seems, in Turin, in Italy, where even now it remains the center of controversies as everyone argues about the shroud of Turin. But this was originally a relic of the church, and it would have been processed in the church which had its presence in the city of Constantinople. So it is because of this, it seems, that in every Orthodox church we have an epitaphios, which depicts the Lord being buried. But the epitaphios is always placed inside of the kuvuklion. The kuvuklion is this square-shaped tomb with a dome on top. And if we would understand the reasons that we use this in the church, we must look to the city of Jerusalem, where the Lord endured his saving passion, where he gave up the ghost and died and was buried for our salvation in a new hewn tomb, which after many years after he had risen, St. Helen went and found. She found the cross, she found the tomb, she found the place where the Lord had been lain, and she built a church around them. But she carved out the hill in which the tomb had been hewn, had been dug. She carved it out and left it in the shape of a small church with a dome on top. And in after years, when invaders came and conquered Jerusalem, they destroyed the church and they destroyed the tomb. But it was rebuilt when the city was retaken, so that what is there in Jerusalem now is still as St. Helen left it, rebuilt, but on the same place, the place where the Lord rose from the dead. This is why we have the kuvuklion, the tomb of the Lord, which doesn't look like a tomb. It looks like a wooden structure, a box with a dome on top. But it looks like this because this is what the tomb of the Lord looks like in Jerusalem. It is into that place that the Patriarch of Jerusalem enters every Easter with unlit candles. He is searched so that it is assured that he has no means of making fire on his person. The tomb is searched, not by Christians. In the days before 1948, it was searched by the authorities of the British Mandate. Before that, by the authorities of the Turkish Sultan. Before that, by the authorities of the Caliph in Damascus, to make sure that there was no means of making fire. Because when the Patriarch enters in, holding unlit candles, here is the miracle that we celebrate when we say, "Thefte lavete fos," come receive the light. The Lord himself lights the candles. And he comes out with fire that for a period of minutes burns but does not consume. People will pass their hands into the fire and not be burned. And yet it is fire. And this then, and the enormity of this miracle looms large in our understanding. And it is for this reason that we all, in every church in the Orthodox world, make a replica of the tomb of the Lord, the kuvuklion. And we make a replica of the shroud of the Lord, the epitaphios. And we place the epitaphio inside the cubucleon. And if we are able, we take them in procession around the church. And we always place the epitaphio cloth on the altar table. Because in doing these things, we confess, we affirm the reality, the truth of these things, the glory of the presence of the Lord in our midst, the ongoing action of the Holy Spirit, miraculously transforming the world, one person at a time. So, as we stand here in the church, as we look at the holy things set up, the tokens of the Lord's victory over death, let us rejoice. Let us be glad. Let us shout and sing in our hearts and with our voices, for Christ is risen. Christos anesti. Christ is risen. Have a blessed day.